has risen in power in the organization because Mark trusts him. He's probably a real smart guy. And that's created envy. And then once the Mavs, and there probably was a blow-up between Luka and this guy. This guy's not a real social animal. There's a little blow-up with Luka and him. And once the Mavs took a 2-0 lead and then lost in the playoffs, the people who didn't like this guy saw it as an opening to go to the Athletic and crush him and force Mark to reevaluate his decision or put pressure. That's what people do. There's a lot of envy out there. And so this guy moves close to Mark. The Mavericks lose a heartbreaking series. Luka's obviously the star of the franchise. Luka, I would bet, did have a blow-up with this guy. That's okay. Well, that's okay. And other people around saw it as an opening when they lost the series to point fingers at this guy and get him out of here. That is my takeaway. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a lot easier to complain when you've lost. Can't be out here given that no one cares about the story if they're still winning and going through the playoffs. I don't know, though.
I mean, I always say this. The only way you break stories is people talk. And people talk when they're trying to get a job, trying to get somebody fired, trying to be elevated, trying to get somebody else relegated. The reality is stuff leaks for a reason. And so why would this story leak? Why would anybody in the Dallas Mavericks want this story out? Because they're envious of the influence this person has with Mark Cuban, which could be overstated or understated in the article. I've read the whole thing. My takeaway is that Luka probably had a little yelling match with this guy for 10 seconds, and people heard about it. It was in the organization. Everybody talked about it for a couple of days. Ooh, Luka got upset. Don't upset Luka. I mean, Luka's a gold bar. Don't screw with it. Don't lose it, right? And so, people saw it as an opening to go to NBA writers, leak a bunch of stuff, make this guy look bad.
Well, I don't know him at all.
Well, we don't know either. But
he also could be an irritant around the building, so it might not necessarily be an envy thing, but he is making the environment uncomfortable for, not in a inappropriate way, but just like he's not great to work with. And this was an opportunity to talk about that because maybe Mark doesn't see that. I don't know. I'm just saying that could be another scenario.
No,
Who knows? Like it might be envy. It could be it's not a great working environment anymore. And it could be, sometimes we get these stories out here that,
it says
owners get comfortable with these like characters,
Well, multiple league and team sources point to the 2020 draft as an egregious example of this guy, Voulgaris' power, and a source described it as embarrassing.
Well, also, the analytics guys and the basketball guys could not be seeing eye to eye on things, and that could be part of the issue as well.
We're breaking this thing down live on television.
I do not know him, and I do not know the situation.
No.
This is not coming from sources. I'm just giving my personal opinion on scenarios that could possibly be playing out here.
Yeah, when team sources start burying a team employee, that's usually envy. Or maybe to Joy's point, this guy's a pain in the butt. Or whatever.
Or it's just the analytics guys and the guys who lean more towards the scouting and not so much in analytics are not seeing eye to eye on the direction of the franchise.
That's very good. The analytic guys and the eye guys and the analytic guys, not peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A lot of trouble here. Doesn't know his mix. 15 minutes, one of my favorite people in the world, Greg Olson, former NFLer, now our Fox colleague. Wonderful guy. Wonderful story on his son, by the way. It's been all over the internet. We'll talk to Greg. We can't wait. Okay, Chris Paul. I heart Chris Paul. Okay, guy's amazing. 3 things I feel define a person in their profession: who, where, and what. And I feel with Chris Paul, people are now just starting to figure out his greatness. His who has always been incredibly strong. Defiant, tough, defends, leads, barks. Wake Forest, all of his stops. He's got one of the strongest who's in the NBA. Who is important? It's your foundation. Where? Chris Paul. Well, this where's been in flux. He's been on 5 teams. But he flourishes with young players who are talented but want to be led. He's not as good with veterans. What? Now that's interesting. We've argued for years about what he is, and those of us, me, have been arguing probably the second best point guard ever. But he's not vertical and flashy and fun. Now you are seeing indisputably what he is. He is the most valuable player in this league once LeBron got out of his prime. He affects winning and losing, and that to me is value. And the media often loves Westbrook and Iverson and D. Rose and John Wall and fast and vertical and fun and flashy. That is not what the point guard position is about. It's about elevating others beyond yourself. That's why Magic Johnson's the greatest point guard ever. And I'd make a strong argument Chris Paul is second. And Chris Paul's sense of who, where, what, who is so strong, and this is important in life, that as the game has changed, he has tweaked it, but he has not fallen prey to the current analytic whims. Unlike Giannis, who's now firing up three-pointers, Chris Paul shoots a mid-range, mostly from the right side of the key. It is who he is. He still barks. He still yells. He still commands. He still defends. Although he's not as good a defender as he once was, he's still tough. His who is so strong that it's overcome a lot of the wheres. He's been all over the league. And as the game has changed, what he has become is actually more valuable because he knows what he is. And Phoenix is perfect because for the first time in his career, the who, where, what, the chakras, they all align. His who is strong. He's working with a coach that'll listen and young players that will follow. And what he's become, side by side with the MVP Jokic, it's not even close. One is controlling the clock. Chris Paul is not only averaging 25 points and 5 rebounds and 10 assists and virtually no turnovers. He's shooting 100% from the line, 75% from threes, 63% from field goals. It's insane. Coach of the Denver Nuggets summed it up accurately on Chris Paul.
You have to give them a lot of credit. They're a very well-coached team, and they have a lot of talent. Chris Paul could arguably be the greatest point guard of all time. And you know what? You're having Devin Booker, just a professional bucket getter. So they're going to be a tough out. So you have to tip your cap to them.
And what I tell my kids or stepkids on the who, the where, the what, it will not be easy. My who was very weak when I was young. My where has been, as you know, with my career, in flux. My what was always strong. I knew what I wanted to be. But it wasn't until I had kids, my who was the strongest of the three. They created clarity on who I really was. My where, I'm finally happy. And my what, and this is what I do, I talk. But Chris Paul, my journey has not been easy. Chris Paul, and this is what I tell kids, it ain't easy. It's hard. The stronger the who is, the easier the where and the what become. Here's Chris Paul.
I wasn't this phenom. I wasn't necessarily supposed to be here. I played 2 years of JV basketball. You know, it ain't always been, sweet for me. I've always had to grind, and I like that mentality. And that's always been who I've been, and I'm going to stay that way. If you like it, cool. If you don't, it's cool too.
This is who I am. It's always been a strength. All right, let's talk the fragile Brooklyn Nets. I'm gonna quit predicting the Bucks Nets series. I think I've whiffed 4 different times. We said last week the Brooklyn Nets have become Tesla. Brilliant, revolutionary. Oh boy, but Elon Musk running the show, you're not sure what they are day to day. This is what Brooklyn is, fragile. Kyrie Irving, he's hurt again. Kevin Durant, now frustrated, he's the only star left. Blake Griffin, Steve Nash isn't playing him enough. And Harden, I don't know, Does anybody know? You know, I said this when he left Steph Curry. It's funny about the NBA. LeBron and KD keep moving around the NBA trying to find the perfect spot. And it's like it doesn't exist. You know, when you're as great as KD and you're as great as LeBron James, you're not going to find your equal. You know, D. Wade got old, and Cleveland's owner couldn't get him any good players, and then Kyrie bailed on him, and J.R. Smith drove him nuts, and now Anthony Davis isn't healthy, and Kevin Durant wasn't the man in Oklahoma City, and I'm going to go to Golden State, and he wasn't quite the man there because it's kind of Steph's culture and Steph's team, and now he goes out to Brooklyn with stars, and they're all hurt. You can run, you can't hide. KD and LeBron are bouncing around trying to find the perfect solution, and it's really not there. But I said when he left Golden State, I said be very careful because Steph Curry is probably the most selfless, egoless, emotionally dependable star in the league. Kyrie's gifted, but he's not that. You don't quite know what you're getting day to day with Kyrie and the way he feels and Kyrie and his body. And so this is a sort of what it was going to eventually be, which is a bunch of dudes, really talented, look like the world's best basketball team for the first two games, and then KD is essentially now on his own. The most valuable teammate for Kevin Durant this morning is the Nets training staff. Fragile. Fingers crossed. Harden's hammy, anyone's guess. Kyrie's ankle, cross your fingers. You can move around a lot when you're a superstar in the NBA. But KD and LeBron are great examples. You're never going to find anybody as great as you. KD's never going to find anybody as good as KD as a teammate. I mean, on the planet right now, there isn't one. And LeBron kept looking for somebody as durable as LeBron. Who was as durable as LeBron his first 16 years in the league? How about nobody ever, including Michael Jordan? Nobody was as durable. And so this morning, Kevin Durant wakes up, and he's tied at 2 games. And at this point, my only prediction is the Nets team doctors will decide the season. That's it. That's the series. It's come down to health. They're working on the ankle now. They're working on the hammy now. Nets are healthy, they win. Nets aren't, they lose. It's come to that. Good stuff around the corner. Clippers Jazz tonight. I'll take L.A. in what I think will be a close game. The spread is about 5. Greg Olson, Fox Sports colleague, former tight end, is going to be joining us next. Cooling citrus and mint leaf. Bourbon vanilla. Distiller's blend. Intrigued? Those are just some of the good uncommon scents you can enjoy with Cremo grooming products. Body wash, barber-grade shampoo, spray colognes, antiperspirants. And while you might think scents like Distiller's Blend or, the new Reserve Collection fragrance, Palo Santo, are the kind of scent you only get at a high-end boutique, think again. Cremo products, designed with good uncommon scents, can be found at major retailers, Amazon, and CremoCompany.com, CREMO. I was just at a pharmacy a couple days ago, had all sorts of Cremo products. Keep your grooming game on point, fellas, because there is no off-season when it comes to smelling your best. CREMO, CremoCompany.com.